Connect Bond. Yes?
Name check. Dominic Greene.
Largest hit, Dominic Greene, CEO of Green Planet. It's a utility company, but Greene's been doing a lot of philanthropic work, buying up large tracts of land for ecological preserves. Should be getting his picture now.
Yep, that's him.
Drop it.
Hello everybody and welcome to the next watch-along experience. Today it is Quantum of Solace. And I was told it is Yannick's favorite film. No, actually you haven't seen it before, Yannick.
Yes. Yeah, right.
Yannick, why did you agree to watch a film you've never seen live with the fan community and with me? And you don't particularly like Daniel Craig. What is your motivation?
Well, I was aware that when we started this series that we would do all of the films together. So I was sort of aware that, of course, we have to go through all the movies. And so I knew at one point we'd also have to go through, well, the latter ones, and especially also Quantum of Solace. And I thought, well, you know, I wouldn't want to watch it on my own because I don't see one reason why I would care for it, because I didn't like all the other Daniel Craig Bond movies. But I thought at least maybe some of you will get a little bit of enjoyment out of my misery and out of my disdain for this movie.
So it's gonna be a very interesting night tonight. I'm very much looking forward to your input, as much as you can get from the film, because of course I will narrate a bit. I will play you some behind the scenes footage along the film. The film runs 1 hour and 46 minutes. I don't know what kind of copy you have. If you have an NTSC copy when you're in America, it runs a bit longer, I think. At one point I should look that up, if it runs longer or shorter. I never can remember it. Can you? Do you know?
No, but today you have to be the one who's providing all the intel and information, because I sure as hell won't be any help.
Yes, I will. So whenever you are on a tablet or mobile phone or a screen or smart TV, I will notify you when there is behind the scenes, if you have the film running alongside, so that you focus your eyes on the behind the scenes. There's not much new stuff in there. It's mostly taken from the DVDs and Blu-rays, but there are some behind the scenes stills that you might have not seen yet. Of course, after the film, we will go into discussion. Also, together with you, the chat is open for everyone to join in. Yannick will have an eye on the chat. I will do so as well, so that Yannick can enjoy most parts of the film, the enjoyable parts. Yeah. I was waiting for a comeback.
You like the end credits or what?
I was waiting for exactly that. Yeah. Well, as you said, we agreed to do all the Bond films. That's why we include Quantum of Solace, Casino Royale, Skyfall, Spectre, and No Time to Die when the time comes. And I would, as I said in the beginning when we talked earlier, I would really love to do Casino Royale 67 and Never Say Never again. I bet that's going to be really, really fun. Just for fun, out of the official canon. Yeah, definitely. So let us know what you think, guys, about Quantum of Solace. I almost said No Time to Die, but we're not there yet. anything you want to tell us, really, questions that you might have regarding the filming or certain scenes that we can maybe clear up. I hope that my expert knowledge will provide you some new insights. Otherwise, enjoy the film. And I think we don't need to wait until 10 past. We can start right away, can't we?
Just one quick question. How do you rank this movie for you personally, or what do you think about this movie?
Well, I tell you honestly, when I came out of the cinema on the day it was released, I saw it in the first screening, I had a terrible raving headache afterwards because it was so fast cut. There are so many hyper cuts in there. It felt like a Jason Bourne movie, and I come out of these with the same feeling. And generally, I didn't feel it was a Bond movie in the way I came to know them. Yeah, but of course, when you watch it again and again, and now in preparation of this watch along, you look at certain things again, and you realize, well, it's a Bond of the modern cinema, of the modern audience that requests a different kind of film. But as we will see when we go through the film, it has a lot to do with certain elements that nobody had control over, like the writers' strike that hit the film, which left the film with a bare-bones script that they needed to finish somehow. They picked, for my opinion, they picked the wrong director, who has done totally different films before and has never done an action film. And he's Swiss, by the way. Marc Forster. I don't know what you know of him.
Yeah, well, first of all, you were talking about the director who was not, very, very known in this genre, in the action film genre. Well, neither was Michael Apted, and he, well, at least for my taste, with The World's Not Enough, he did a great job, even though he never had done anything of that scope or in that realm before. So he could pull it off. Now, Marc Forster, well, it's sort of debatable. Some news outlets say he's German, some say he's Swiss, but in fact, he is from German descent. 70s and 80s, I just read that his father came to a lot of wealth, and so there were aggressions towards the family from the RAF, the Red Army fraction. Was very violent back in those days, and so they fled to Switzerland, where his mother was from.
Okay, interesting. I didn't know that piece of information. There's a lot of Swiss elements in that film. There's henchman Elvis. He is from Switzerland, and he will be speaking a bit of Swiss German in the original language version, in the English version. I don't remember what it is in the German version. I forgot. I don't know if they kept his original voice or not. All in all, to render it down to one single thing, I think the film is very unbalanced. It seems unfinished. It gives off the vibe that it is an unfinished project and that they put it out there because they couldn't refine it anymore. There was nothing they could have done to make it better. And there are some who say The World Is Not Enough is a very, very bad Bond film, and they rank it on the bottom of their list. So I don't know how Quantum ranks with you guys, if it's bottom of your list or if it's so higher up. But I don't keep lists, so Quantum is nowhere in any list for me. I watch all the Bond films, I take something out of every film, and I have found good things in this film as well. Even if it's just David Arnold's music in some areas. I mean, he always delivers masterful scores, to my opinion. But and Quantum is no exception. It has a great musical score. Tracks that I really, really love a lot. Oh, Marcos is here.
That's the way you sold the movie to me, sort of, when you said, well, don't mind the movie so much, maybe just focus on the score. Because it's still a score by David Arnold, which I think all of us love and cherish his contribution to the Bond music world.
Absolutely.
I think there's no doubt about that, is it?
Yeah. Quick hello to Marcos. Good to see you, my friend. Haven't seen you in ages, actually. We've been together in London And it was the premiere of Spectre at that time, and we were going around London filming scenes for my documentary. It was a really great time to hang out in front of the Millennium Dome and stuff. That was really fun. So, okay.
I remember the footage. Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody ready to start? On our signal, Yannick, as usual, as it's your favorite film, you can do the honors.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
On our mark,
Okay,
Yannick, let's go.
Yeah, let's get this over with. 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh, it's already terribly exciting. The lion. No.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
we're off to a good start.
Yeah. But what is important to note is that this is, and you know that, it's the first Bond film that is a direct continuation of a previous film. So it's no use starting your Bond fan life with Quantum of Solace because you will have no idea of why it's there. You're missing something. And you were asking for the gun barrel. Air.
Yeah, great start. Fantastic. Yeah, just show an island, of course.
It's not an island. It's Lake Garda.
I don't give a shit.
Here you see behind the scenes on whatever screen you are watching, behind the scenes of how they filmed the car chase on location in Italy. It was filmed on the road near Navine on the east coast of Lake Garda, near Limone sul Garda on the opposite coast. And a lot of people like to go there with their cars and play David Arnold's music and recreate some of it. Italian police has frequent trouble. No, not really. Well, so, this is where it starts, yeah.
Yeah, it's just, well, again, well, there we go. Well, it's the face already throws me off. But anyway, it's a beautiful location, I have to say that. That's not given so much. But then again, we have the first trouble already. When you heard the machine gun sounds, it's something in today's movies. I don't get it. All the way until 2000 around there, the guns all sounded fat. Now here they sound like little, I don't know what.
I actually like them because they sound really crisp.
Yeah, but they have no oomph to them.
This was very, very difficult to film. They had so many individual shots, and for these dynamic shots, they had a gyro-stabilized remote-controlled camera, and this camera crane is called Ultimate Arm, and they attached it to a Mercedes ML55, and they painted it matte black so that they don't have any reflection, and it could go up to 200 kilometers per hour, and the camera was inches away from the action to capture all of it, and then they cut it that fast, so it's a blink and miss scene. 40 stuntmen, 6 doubles for Daniel Craig, 7 160,000-pound Aston Martin DB5s, and 8 Alfa Romeos 159s. That's the toll of this chase. And an engineer that drove Bond's Aston Martin to the set lost control of the car and ended up in the lake, in Lake Garda. And this will put a smile on your face, Yannick. The media labeled it as Dry Another Day when they pulled the car out of Lake Garda. Yeah. Jochen just says the long tunnel is Galleria dei Titani, 860 meters. If anybody of you wants to go there, there's your location information right there. Thank you, Jochen.
And Marcos just pointed out, because you were saying before that that movie is the first in the series that's a continuation of one before. But even though they wanted to be very novel and everything with the continuation bullshit, they still have a different outfit now for Bond than where the movie left off before. So yeah, great work, Continuity Girl.
Yeah. It hurts me when I see a car in that in that way, especially an Aston Martin. Although I'm not really fond of these modern Aston Martins. They seem quite bulky.
Yeah.
I couldn't see myself on the road with one like that. And of course, Mr. White. And that's where it starts. If you haven't seen Casino Royale, you don't know who Mr. White is and why he's in Bond's truck.
Oh, yeah. Of course.
The main title sequence, first time a duet has been performed in a Bond film. Alicia Keys and Jack White. And
Do you think?
I don't like it. Still to this day, I don't like it. It's too, I don't know. I can't even put a word to it.
Yeah, the
Avant-garde.
mood is completely off. It's absolutely it doesn't evoke any Bondness whatsoever.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. Absolutely, I'm with you there. And the title "Quantum of Solace" at the time when they mentioned when they revealed the title, nobody knew what it was about because nobody could place the word solace. It's a vocabulary word, but it's in every vocabulary. But for a long time, this title had been considered for a Bond movie, and even Daniel Craig said he was unsure about using it, although it is based on something that Ian Fleming wrote. He said Bond is looking for his quantum of solace. That's what he wants. Ian Fleming says if you don't have a quantum of solace in your relationship, you might as well give up. And Bond doesn't have that because his girlfriend has been killed in Casino Royale, and he's looking for revenge to make himself happy with the world again. That's what practically Quantum is about, if you like that sort of thing. So it's a revenge film, just like License to Kill was. It is centered around the same idea of License to Kill. Yeah.
What do you guys in the chat think about the title song? I'd like to know.
Yep, really like to know. Yeah. Sir Paul McCartney turned down an offer to write a new Bond song for this film, and he recommended Amy Winehouse. And apparently she recorded a demo with Mark Ronson, and this demo has never seen the light of day, sadly. And they didn't use it because at that time Amy Winehouse was unable to record music because of her personal situation she was going through at that time. But Willem says, I don't like the song. I like Shirley Bassey's No Good About Goodbye theme throughout the movie. That's true. David Arnold uses that a lot in the score. No Good About Goodbye. She released it later on an album. A very, very good song. I don't know if it would have worked, but I always can't imagine main titles with another song. But there are videos on YouTube where people put No Good About Goodbye over these main title sequences, and you would have to judge if that evokes more Bond feeling.
Well, Jochen said, I find the song is not so good, but I find it better than Sam Smith's song. It's not so hard to do.
Actually, I covered that song as well. That was the first Bond song I covered before the film was even released. And these, of course, are shots from Siena, the Palio in Siena, and they filmed most of that prior to the actual production. I think they filmed it 15 months ahead of the official production start, because the Palio in Siena is at a certain time of the year, and they wanted to catch that. And also in this film, it's the first film where Bond does not introduce himself as Bond James Bond. He did it at the end of Casino Royale for Mr. White. However, they shot Daniel Craig for Quantum of Solace saying the catchphrase Bond James Bond, but they didn't use it. It was cut out because director Marc Forster and the producers found it unnecessary to use it. Zachary asks, is there any real reasoning as to why the editing is so poor? It depends. There is a reason why the editing is there. The reason for the editing being the way it is because they wanted to build on the hype of the Bourne movies, to appeal to a younger audience, because they thought that's what a younger audience would like to see. They like fast cut films. But it turned out that a lot of people did not like it. And they actually brought somebody in to edit the film, because it was really, really difficult to edit the car chase and to edit here the Palio in Siena and later the boat chase. Such fast cut sequences. They had 2 editors working on that. But the main reason behind it is the Bourne films. And I think the producers learned from that. The Bond films following Quantum of Solace had better editing. Definitely. And for Siena, yes, you want to say something?
It's just absolutely mind blowing how little you can care for a Bond movie. I mean, nothing is in place. Like you said, the gun barrel's missing. The car chase was sort of okay, but it's like it's nothing you didn't see in 50 movies prior to that. What is going on with this white guy and so on? It's just so.
Yeah.
I mean, Judi Dench is even there, but even she can't save it. It's just this stuff here in Spain or whatever that is. I don't know.
Zachary, we are at 10 minutes and 5 at the moment, if you're trying to catch up. We're shortly before the Siena foot chase. Now, there's a lot happening in the first half hour of the film. And I think also here with that chase, they could have done so much more with better editing. And I show you a bit of the behind the scenes here now. How that scene was filmed, and it's so fast cut. I would have liked to see more or extended shots of the horses, of the riders and the colors and the general feel of this festival, instead of just 1.5 or 2 seconds. And this whole sequence was really, really complex. And also the rooftop chase that will happen then, which at first they wanted to shoot in Pinewood, but it turned out that it was cheaper to shoot it at the Sienese rooftops rather than in Pinewood. And what you see here, the filming of the background shots, they did it in August 2007. And the Palio di Siena horse race, which is the opening of the chase sequence here, goes through the medieval architecture of the town and the Bottini underground aqueduct. It's nice to see it, but it's, again, blink and you miss it. You know, it could have been so much more.
It's ever since this movie came out, I heard people talk about the fast cuts being too much, and I could never imagine to what extent this is really, really, really terrible. And imagining being in a cinema, watching this on a big screen, I can absolutely understand why you came out with a soaring headache.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And to shoot in Siena, the officials there supplied 1 million euros to the filmmakers so that they could build 4 camera cranes and change rooftops, hire 300 extras needed for this scene here. And these centuries-old rooftop tiles had to be removed by the production from the old houses, and the roofs were reinforced so that the cast members and stuntmen could do what they do and would not fall through them. And second unit director here was Dan Bradley, and he was hired on the basis of his work of the Bourne Supremacy and the Bourne Ultimatum, 2004 and 2007. And they wanted to continue this gritty action style begun in Casino Royale. Zachary says, I don't like the look of this film. It's too drab and muddy looking, feels too bleak. That's true. There's a lot of brown coloring in there, a lot of orange. Yes, Yannick?
Yeah, and he goes on to say this was actually my first Bond film in theaters, and me and my mom left just after Bond and Camille left the party. Yeah, well.
Yeah. Yeah, Zachary, I can understand. Yeah. A good time to leave. Leave the party when it's at the best time. Yeah, and
this is just bad. This is just CGI and all this sort of crap. It's really no.
This actually, I like the tenseness of this scene, but still the editing ruins it a bit for me. And co-editor Richard Pearson was brought in to assist the editor Matt Chess to speed it all up. And director Marc Forster only had 5 weeks to edit the entire movie. So in his previous films, he was used to 14 weeks. Well,
look at this. This is like a computer game. I mean, people sometimes complain, oh, the Pierce Brosnan movies were so unrealistic. Look at this clusterfuck. I mean, what the movement of the stuff, this doesn't look real at all.
And to your amazement, there are over 900 visual effects in this film.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
probably even more than Star Wars.
Yeah. And regarding the look and feel of the film, Casino Royale had a totally different look and feel. It was very elegant, Daniel Craig's debut, and for this film it has been toned down in favor of conventional action, and I don't think it did the film any good. Absolutely didn't.
Yeah.
In points, it is really, as Zach said, it feels bleak, it feels depressing. And here, London, it's raining. Why can't it be a sunny day? I mean, everybody knows London has a lot of rain, but why can't it be a sunny day for once?
Well, but then again, this bleakness stuff, I don't really buy into it because, I mean, GoldenEye did the same for most part of the movie, and it was a great film. So did, what was the first one with Dalton? I always forget the name.
The Living Daylights.
Yeah, that was very bleak and gray too, but they could pull it off.
Absolutely, and I think GoldenEye needed that look and that feel.
Yes, absolutely.
And what becomes evident here, Bond isn't very talkative. Throughout the entire film, it seems that M, played by the gorgeous Judi Dench, has much more dialogue than Bond. I found that strange.
Yeah, it's certainly strange, but actually, I have to say that's one good thing. One good thing, because the more Daniel Craig keeps his mouth shut, the better for the movie. I have to say.
Yeah.
Look at this. I mean, what is this?
She is great, though. She brings.
Yeah, she's always great.
She brings a lot to that, and I think during the Brosnan time, she held back a lot. I think she could have given the character so much more, and she got the opportunity to do it here. She has a much bigger role. She's almost the leading lady in this film.
Yeah.
Which is something I like very much, because she has an important position. Zachary says even dialogue scenes are weirdly cut, like all the random cutaways to extra mid-dialogue, like during the party. That's true. And we will see more of that later, especially in the finale. This film leaves a lot of questions unanswered because of these weird dialogue scenes where it feels like some information is being kept from me. I don't get a certain piece of information which could be important.
Yeah, and you know what also comes to my attention is that when we talked about movies like, GoldenEye, we talked about this, that so many of the roles, be it leads or just side characters, they seem cast perfectly. And in this, I just, these people that were standing there, I don't take them seriously. They don't look authentic. They look out of place. They look too young. I mean, we had, for example, in GoldenEye, we had Michael Kitchen, who was totally believable, although his tie was not absolutely rightly adjusted and stuff like that. But those were really character figures. And all of these people we saw in this briefing room, totally bleak, forgettable characters.
Yeah.
None of them have those character faces. Now, however, that's a problem that Hollywood has now overall, that they like the Clint Eastwoods, the Bruce Willises, the Sylvester Stallones, really characters that really stand out. It's so much bleakness and just standard stuff that it's so forgettable.
Yeah, understand. Here's another behind the scenes, how they filmed the fight between Bond and what's his name? Help me out, I forgot again. Not you, Yannick, because you haven't seen it yet. Obviously. Forgot his name because I have my sound turned down of the film. But expertly choreographed, though. Really like that. The stunt guys on the Bond films do an exceptional job always, no matter how bad the film. Mitchell, yeah. No, Mitchell is the other one. That is Slate. Now it's coming to me. Slate. Yeah. And Bond kills everybody. He's on a rampage, and later he has to excuse to M because she wanted those people alive. And what they filmed that in Panama, I believe. And Daniel Craig had to change hotels several times because he was discovered by paparazzi and all of that. And yeah, it was really problem for the cast and crew. And it was really hot. I think they filmed this in Colón in Panama, and the film crew drank over 1,000 bottles of cold water per day. And the film has an environmental theme. That's why we will soon see the Bond girl, Camille, played by Olga Kurylenko, in a Ford, an environmentally friendly concept car. Here's Michael Wilson, by the way. And this was part of the product placement arrangement between Ford and the production company.
Yeah.
And she drives a prototype electric version of the Ford car. I think here it comes.
Oh God.
There it is.
Oh,
yeah.
Goodness, good God, oh good God. You know what? When you're in a Bond movie and we start to talk about environmental friendly placement, you have a problem right there. You know you're up to no good.
The fun is nobody
just...
even recognizes that as being an electric car.
Yeah, thanks God. Yeah.
It's
no,
totally...
this is not there. No, this is not the place to put in political messages and environmental bullshit and all this stuff. This is bullshit. Come on, really.
I mean, I've seen nobody sitting in the cinema and saying, "Oh, they had the new electric version of the Ford car in there. That was really great." I don't know. Yeah. It's not very inventive what they did there with the coffins falling off that car being chased by a motorcycle. Nothing here is really new.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. You can hear by the engine sound that's an e-car. Yeah, it's just a joke. I mean, look, even back in For Your Eyes Only with the yellow 2 Durchwohl or 2 CV. Even that had a little bit of style, a little bit of class to it. Now this car is just a joke.
Yeah. Well, thank God it's her car, not his.
Yeah. Did you see? Well, wait a few years. Did you see Johnny English 3?
Are you asking me?
Yes.
Yes, I did.
Because maybe that's a little hint, because she also, Olga Kurylenko is also in Johnny English 3, and there she also drives this weird BMW electric car. So.
Okay. Well, yes, it's the trend. That's the Barbican Centre in London, by the way. Nice location, futuristic looking, and again, M very much in the spotlight, always in contact with Bond, and him not being very talkative again. And of course we have her assistant, a male assistant she always carries around in the Daniel Craig Bond films until Moneypenny is reintroduced. Moneypenny and Q are absent from this film as well. And here's Elvis speaking Swiss German. It's a tiny bit. Anatol Taubman.
Yeah.
You know him well, because he's, well, not personally, but since he's Swiss.
Swiss. He is Swiss, yes, right.
Is he a big film star in Switzerland?
No, not at all. Well, some people probably know him, but it's not like, Switzerland. That's why a lot of the stars live here, because Swiss don't really care about big stars. Well, they do care about them, but Swiss are too what's the English word for zurückhaltend? Too
reserved.
Exactly, too reserved to really.
Yep.
Maybe even if they spot someone they know, or even if they spot someone, I mean, there were people like Phil Collins, Tina Turner, Roger Moore. All these people live in Switzerland, and even if people recognize them, they would never go up to them and talk to them or say, "Hey, that's Tina Turner," or whatever. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But no, he's not generally speaking, he's not a big star. No.
Michael just said, "Watch the man with a broomstick." I don't know if that scene is already over. And if we see Bond again, there is a guy in the background with a broomstick, and he's and it's so high above the ground that he's not actually doing anything. What's funny about this is, I mean, with the whole Bond franchise, all the Bond films that came before this one, we were so pampered and spoiled by villains having big, massive layers, underground, overground, volcanoes, everything. And Dominic Greene operates from an effing warehouse on some dock. I thought that's really down tempo for you. So.
And Zachary wrote, is it fair to say Marc Forster was a bad choice for director? Who were some other considerations?
That's a good question. Other considerations. I don't know it from the top of my head, sounding like Mark Zuckerberg. But I'm pretty sure he was a bad choice as a director. Yes. Yeah. My opinion. They could have gone with somebody else. I mean, there are a lot of directors who could have done this. He was the first one, I think, who was not British. Yeah, something like that. But yes, a different choice could have been made easily. Don't need to go as extreme as Christopher Nolan or something else, but.
But do you consider Campbell British?
No, he's from New Zealand, I think.
Right.
But it's part of the Commonwealth, so it's the same as it's the same as George Lazenby, Australian. I mean, it's still part of the Commonwealth, so you can consider these
you
people
still
British.
call... Okay.
Oh.
Andy, hi Andy.
Hi Andy.
Yeah.
Hello.
I really.
Good to
I
see
just
you.
really can't get into this film. I know there's always a reason to be like something in a Bond movie in theory, but I've tried so hard to find anything in this that I like. Well, Andy, I can understand you. We've been watching 26 minutes, and I have not felt for 1 second that this is any good whatsoever.
Oh. Well, still, I'm on board with a car chase. If it's on a small screen, it's okay for me. It's yeah. I can accept it. The foot chase in Siena as well. I can find some good things in there, but I certainly don't like that all of this, including the boat chase that is coming up, happens in the first half hour of the film. It gives away so many set pieces, and you just want to shake the director and the producer and say, hey, I need time to breathe on this film. And I can understand why people probably had a headache halfway through the film already and then decided to leave. I sat through it. Yeah.
No.
Andy says Campbell is Commonwealth but lived in the UK since the 60s. So, what? You can call him English.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
This is the first Bond film actually to have a boat chase and a car chase since The Man with the Golden Gun in one film. And but it's the only Bond film that has a car chase, a foot chase, a plane chase, and a boat chase because Marc Forster wanted to base the action sequences around the four elements of earth, water, fire, and air. Which is, of course, when you sit in the cinema, again, then you know that he's an art house director and he has done different films before. But when you sit in the theater and you come out of the theater and you speak to your friends, do you say, oh, did you see what they did there? He based the chase sequences around the elements. This is effing brilliant. Didn't you recognize it? Didn't you notice that? No. Pretty much nobody did. So, who cares? It's a nice idea, but maybe for another film? Not a Bond film?
Maybe for another world.
I see, this is still getting interesting. Zachary, the movie is very poorly paced. It's the shortest in the series, but it feels like one of the longest, and that's a feat in editing. Exact opposite of one No Time to Die did. That's true. I didn't feel the length of No Time to Die, actually. Which means I didn't find it boring. I still didn't like it. But it certainly kept you engaged. So did Casino Royale, which was also very long. But there was something going on every minute. And I play you some behind the scenes of the boat chase, which also seems very, very rushed.
Yep.
And so much going on at the same time. And we heard a bit about Dominic Greene's plan before, when he was talking to General Medrano, who we see here. But you still don't know what his bigger plan is. It has something to do with a spot of land in the desert in exchange for General Medrano being established as the leader of Bolivia. Dominic Greene will provide that, but he wants this piece of land. Medrano thinks it's about oil. You think it's about oil because Dominic Greene doesn't make another statement. But still, it's in the dark what his plan actually is. We would have to compare it with other Bond films when the plan of the villain became known, at what point in the film. That would be interesting to explore. And Camille is being given her own story here. We don't yet know what backstory she has, but she is on her own mission. She's fighting Bond on the boat because she has some other agenda. Again, from the stunt and special effects perspective, well done by the production team. They delivered the same high standards in this film as they do with any other film. And it's the usual stunt guys we know from the Brosnan era. So we know they provide quality, but it's really the editing here that ruins it again. Editing and parts of the camera work.
And I have to say, up until now, I'm sorry to say that. I mean, I love David Arnold's work in general, the Bond movies, but music really is not something that sticks out to be very good. It's typical David Arnold, but it's not a Bond soundtrack.
No, not in these sequences.
Yeah, and what I absolutely dislike, what I just heard, is when he it goes back to the title theme, but when he combines those rock drums with orchestra sound, that doesn't gel at all.
Okay.
What do you guys think about the score in the chat?
Later there will be some good pieces by David Arnold, some I really like, and some that I keep on my mobile phone from this film. But it's 2 tracks, I think. The one is called Oil Fields, and the other one, I forgot, I have to look it up. But definitely Oil Fields, because that is a very subtle, smooth track, which has the Bond theme in it. So that is really something I'm looking for. Andy, I've seen every Bond at cinema since Diamonds with my dad, but this is the only one he actually wanted to leave early. Pathetic villain, confusing editing, set pieces spoiled by editing and direction. That's the way we see it. Yeah. Yeah. Whether something is pathetic or not is, of course, in everybody's own perception. I have made up my mind about Dominic Greene as a villain. I found him very, very weak when I saw it in the cinema first. And just recently, in preparing this watch-along, I came to a different conclusion about Dominic Greene. He is still, for most parts of this film, he is weak, a weak character, and not the classic Bond villain. But we are spoiled by megalomaniac Bond villains who had some super high-level plots of world domination or something to do with nuclear stuff. But I'll tell you during the Brigands sequence, which is coming up next, why I think Dominic Greene is a scary villain. I have my own opinion about that.
Okay, a couple of comments from the comment section. So Martin writes, Quantum of Solace, my least favorite Bond soundtrack, and Andy agrees with that. Just on a small note, it is like that, and I mean, we never know what a composer thinks about a movie, but you cannot make a great score out of a shit movie. I have to say it like that. That's just a problem that is. You can make a good movie very good, but you can make a bad movie good through score, and you can just play with what you get. So. And then Zachary writes, I love the eerie sounding piece he does during the opera when everyone is arriving. It adds to the creepy vibe they give Quantum. Yeah. And Jeremy Page wrote, Die Another Day has a better editing than Quantum of Solace. Well, definitely, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though it was very experimental, I remember I just recall that I saw this interview with Lee Tamahori, who said his editors started to work with that stuff when they have these camera shots, these flyovers, the Iceland and the Icelandic mountains and that stuff, where they speed up and they slow down, and all these sort of Viva, these MTV music video sort of tricks. That fell out of place too, but that's just one or two scenes. Here it is permanent.
Martin says, the reason why I have a soft spot for Quantum of Solace is that it ends the character arc established in Casino Royale, and Bond finally makes peace with himself. It works well thematically with Casino Royale, and then Spectre ruins it. I have to think about that for a moment.
Yeah.
Does he really make peace with himself? I don't know. What scene are you seeing that, Martin? In what scene do you get the vibe that Bond is at peace with himself? That would be interesting to know, just so that I can respond to it properly and process that into my head, because it's something I didn't think about before. Continuing this story arc, of course, I think it was a big mistake to have a story arc in the first place. Martin, I'm referring to the ending where he forgives Vesper. Okay. Quickly have to go through that in my head. That's true. Is it the part where he throws the necklace in the snow, or because I'm as Andy says, not sure he gets over Vesper, the grave scene in No Time to Die where he visits her grave. I think he is professional enough to continue his work without letting this phase of his life interfere with his profession. Throwing away the necklace, as you say, could be understood as finishing with that, but I think he does it to show his boss that he is still on track and he can still function as a secret agent, because as Fleming said, Bond is a blunt instrument controlled by a government organization. And I think they always need to go back to that and show that he is, and that he's not going off the rails on some revenge mission of his own. And I mean, Judi Dench M has been suspicious of Bond pretty much throughout the whole film, and it will get stronger when we progress, especially after Brigands, when she cancels all his cards and restricts his movements, and she puts out orders to restrict her agent in the field because he's going off the tracks.
What's this haircut, by the way? Did you miss a couple of decades, or what?
Whose haircut? Elvis?
No, Arnold told Hauptmann.
Yeah, they did it for a specific reason. Marc Forster gave an interview somewhere. They did that haircut for a specific reason. You will see later.
Okay.
This was the Brigands sequence is something that I really like. It's art house, yes. This is Marc Forster's direction, where it is really good and where it is fitting. He tries to match, or he tries to marry, a tense sequence with an operatic theme. So what they did is they filmed this at the floating opera stage in Brigands, and this was the real set at that time for the opera Tosca by Puccini. And they had 1,700 extras who were paid £42 a day for being there. And for the auditorium, CGI spruced that up to 7,000 people. And there are some Bond fans in these scenes. I know there is Remmert van Braam from James Bond Lifestyle. You can find him in the foyer when they have a sweeping camera over the people there. That's very nice, because you could register as an extra, and many Bond films, many Bond fans took up that chance. And speaking about Dominic Greene in this scene, he said himself he modeled his character Dominic Greene on two political figures. First of all, France's then President Nicolas Sarkozy, and former British Prime Minister Tony Blair. Now, I've looked long and hard for what he actually meant. Couldn't find it. And this will be interesting to you, Yannick. Marc Forster originally had Bruno Ganz in mind for Dominic Greene. Austrian actor Bruno Ganz, who famously portrayed Adolf Hitler in Downfall.
Oh, no, he's not Austrian. He's Swiss.
Oh, he's Swiss. He's Swiss. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Just had Austrian in my head. Maybe because of Hitler. My mistake. And yeah, the producers had already contacted Mathieu Amalric to portray Dominic Greene, so Bruno Ganz was not brought on board.
That's a bit.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know where this was filmed and where Bregenz is, the city of Bregenz, it's actually on Lake Constance in Austria. And this production of Tosca that they have was Philipp Himmelmann's 2007 production of Puccini's Tosca. And the part that we see that is actually performed is from Act 2 of that opera. It's called Te Deum. A very nice piece. You heard it in the introduction to our stream, because I think that stands out. This scene is very well made. And there is this dreamlike shootout sequence later. I thought that was very, very well done. And this is where you see Marc Forster's art house roots. I play you some behind the scenes of how that was filmed. I think it's a magnificent set and sequence. Bond going behind the stage, Dominic Greene being in the VIP area, and all the Quantum members in the audience and communicating to each other with this earpiece. It's really, really well made. So, Zachary says, the other thing I'm amused by is how the action editing in Quantum and Majesties are so similar, yet it works so much better in Majesties somehow. Oh, that's true. I agree with that. Absolutely. Martin says, I actually quite like Greene as a villain. He just feels like he wasn't comfortable in his own skin all the time. I tell you why I think Dominic Greene is a good villain. I don't say he's a super good villain and he's the best villain I've ever seen, but the way his eyes, his face, he has these almost popping out eyes, and he is so just like a person from the street, like a normal businessman. You wouldn't recognize him when you meet him now. You wouldn't recognize him 3 weeks later. He's just a face in the crowd. His face stands out, yes. But I think it's very interesting. It makes him a scary villain because a lot of people in high positions, whether it is banks or insurances or governments, are people in suits nowadays. A lot of people with evil schemes have suits on and have businesses. So that's why I find him a bit scary. Absolutely, it is a deviation from people like Goldfinger or Largo or Blofeld with his Alpine Clinic, Hugo Drax in Moonraker. Absolutely, we don't have these kinds of villains anymore. I would love to see them make a return, but nowadays I think a lot of other people are very, very dangerous in our world. And as I said, they often wear suits. So, enough political criticism. Andy says, beautiful area of Austria. So, I imagine you've been. And this is the Te Deum part of Act 2. Really well done, with Bond leaving the area behind the stage. And now the music takes over. There are no big sound effects. Bond's eyes and Greene's eyes meet. I think this is very tense. And then with what is happening on stage, you know that there's going to be a shootout. And the music fades out, and it goes into this dreamlike sequence, which is absolutely unusual, also fast cut. But this is something I like.
No idea what's going on.
Nope.
It's really... No. It's no, it's horrible. It's really... And I'm shocked that it's only 45 minutes in now. But this scene, the music doesn't fit anything. It's look at that. You don't know who's running where. You don't know who's shooting who. You don't know who died, who's alive. What is a dream? It's absolutely horrible. I'm sorry. Yeah,
absolutely.
It's really bad.
It helps to see it more than once. I agree. In the cinema, I had no idea who is shooting who, and that's actually true. Yeah. Now, of course, I know because I've seen it a couple of times. But
yeah.
I think this is one of the films where it would be semi-okay to say you have to give it a second watch. But normally I'm not a friend of this comment because, well, I see a film first in the cinema, and this is where I decide if I like it or not. I mean, in 1939, would you have asked cinema audiences to go see Gone with the Wind 2-3 times just to let the film breathe? No, it worked on the first time.
Very good point, yes.
Yeah. And this is where M now cuts Bond off a bit. She realizes that he is definitely on a revenge mission and he is not available for contact. Judi Dench, great performance. No matter if it's Quantum or if it's Skyfall, she delivered on every scale imaginable. Such a fantastic actress.
But you know what is funny when you just mentioned that back in the days you just had to see a movie once and you were either convinced by it, you didn't like it, or it was bad. And today, it's just like you said, this miserable comment, like you have to see a film multiple times for it to grow on you. And I mean, you know, it's the same like in the gaming industry. Back in the days, they released a game, they had one chance, they had to print it on physical copies, and it had to be good and done. And these days they release games and they have to patch it, and the game is sometimes not even half done when it comes out. So you have to keep patching it up for a year or two. It's the same like with the movies, where you just have to keep watching it again and again, so you can figure out at least something what is going on.
Yeah. This actress here is actually funny. This morning when I looked at this scene, I thought I know her face from somewhere. And people in the UK who may be watching, she was in the comedy series Miranda, starring together with Miranda Hart. And sometimes names escape me. I don't know her name now, but I know her face. I have a good memory for faces. Andy, if you're still there, thank you for watching. You can always catch the rest later.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now you can laugh. Now you can laugh.
Yes, please.
Talamon, Italy, because Yannick always laughs when I pronounce foreign names. This tower that you see here dates back to the 13th century. It's Talamonaccio Tower. Is that okay for you? Good.
It's okay.
Good. Because I'm fluent in Italian and French
Yeah.
and Spanish.
Of course.
Yeah, I am. I find it unfair that you always
again.
laugh. No, it's amazing how many things trigger you.
You know what?
It's so good.
The only thing that I liked up until this point was in one scene of the opera shot, there was this actor, I don't remember his name, it's an English actor, who was also in the, what was it, HBO series Chernobyl?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. He recently passed away. Yeah.
No, really?
Yeah, he passed away.
Oh, too bad.
Yeah. Again, the name escapes me now. Should have researched it, but
Same, yeah.
Yeah. But I know him quite well from the series Friday Night Dinner. Great series. You should watch that.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So fantastic.
Let me just quickly look
so
up his...
funny. And actually, if you have the money, you can rent this place here where Mathis and Bond have their conversation, because it is a villa, a luxury villa you can rent, furnished with 19th century antiques, surrounded by a large garden with pool and jacuzzi, beach 500 meters away, but it comes with a price tag of 10,000 euros per week in the low season, 13,000 in the high season for 8 people. So you can move in with 8 people. You can divide it through 8. Paul Ritter, Matt Tonic.
Paul Ritter.
Hello there, by the way. Paul Ritter, really, really good actor. Yeah, I love him.
And there were a couple of shots, but they were very short, so I can never reference them. But there was also an actor known from Swiss German television who is also always. He has these sort of. There he was in the middle picture. Yeah. He played in some funny family series in Switzerland. He's quite known here.
So they have a lot of Swiss influence here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Michael
His name
says,
is. Yeah.
when Mathis says that at a certain age you can't tell who's the bad or good, something similar says Felix Leiter in No Time to Die. That's true, Michael, absolutely. Leiter said it's hard to tell good from bad. And actually this goes back to Fleming, who says something similar. Who said something like the lines between good and bad blur when you go through the ages, something like that. I don't know the original quote. And here on this scene in the plane, Bond is still very much in his mind world with Vesper Lind. And he has not come to terms yet. And this is actually the first time in a film that we see Bond drunk. And intoxicated. I think he's had 7 martinis. He will say so. Not counting Casino Royale when he went to the toilet because he was poisoned. That doesn't count as drunk. But here he's actually drunk. And you can see it, and you can hear it.
Yeah, and that's my point exactly. In the previous scene, where you could see where he takes the wine glass and goes like this, and when you see him here, there's no style to this guy. I'm sorry, there's no style, no class, and that's why I hate this portrayal of James Bond so much. And even he wore suits, he wore nice tuxedos, and he never can pull it off. I mean, my father always used to call, they're these banker type of guys that wear suit and ties, but they still look like shit. I'm sorry.
Okay.
And that's the same thing here. He wears the most beautiful suits and tuxedos, and it doesn't fit him at all. It just looks like nothing.
The Bond Experience. Hello there. Good to see you here with us. We're halfway through, I think. Oh, it's just an hour to go.
Hopefully, yes.
Just under an hour to go. It's going great so far. Yannick has a lot of fun. Zachary, is it just me or is Craig's hair dyed kind of ginger shade for some reason? I think this is... I think it was shot on 35mm, Quantum of Solace. Skyfall they shot digitally. And they played around with the colors again. Just like in No Time to Die. No Time to Die has a really awkward color scheme from what I saw from the video on demand. It's sort of oversaturated and like Craig's eyes, they come out so blue. It's unnatural. It looks almost like Avatar. No,
what an achievement. It's oversaturated while being absolutely bleak. Great job, guys.
Now, I mean, here...
Oh, goodness.
I mean, here, I don't know what kind of color grading they used, but it certainly... They didn't dye his hair for that. I play you some more behind the scenes from this scene that was filmed in Panama. As I said earlier, a totally tricky shoot because it was very hot and yeah.
No Time to Die.
Yeah, No Time to Die. And I understood that Gemma Arterton, who plays Agent Fields here, is one of your favorite actresses. And we find something that you like in the film. Yannick, isn't that great? We're making progress.
Yeah, can I? Well, am I allowed to say that? No, I can say that in 2021 what I think about her. So I'll just keep. Let's just say I like her. Yes.
Don't know what you want to say. But, yeah, Bond is not happy with her choice of hotel, so he is used to something totally different. And I like that the behind the scenes is almost similar. So they go instead to a luxury hotel. And the building here used is the Instituto Nacional de Cultura, National Institute of Culture. Yes, I speak Spanish as well.
Nacional.
Nacional de Cultura. In the World Heritage Area of Casco Viejo in Panama City.
Wow, look at those words coming out of that mouth.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
No, it sounded good, actually.
Yeah,
No, really.
cunning linguist.
Yeah.
Reference.
Reference.
And this is, listen to that, Yannick. I give it a moment for you. Here is a very smooth and subtle David Arnold composition. Bit of silence for Yannick. So he's shaking his head, so that must be good. It is there. Arnold is there. And he delivers in scenes like this. It's not enough to save the film, sadly, but yeah.
Well, I think we talked about this once before. I think in one of the Brosnan Bond watchalongs, but it was just like that. You know, Brosnan was of course in his tenure there was so much of the Bond theme, and it fitted him so nicely. And I think I don't know if it came from the producers, and I don't know if David Arnold. Yeah, of course, you got to have a nude scene, of course, And I don't know if David Arnold ever explained this in an interview or something like this, but they really cut back on the Bond theme in all the Daniel Craig movies. And if intentional or not, but I don't think, and I have to say it's just my opinion, of course, and my taste, but the Bond theme really suited Brosnan, but it doesn't really suit Daniel Craig. But then again, that comes also from my not liking those movies.
Understandable. Yeah, absolutely. So, Bond has a snog with Agent Fields, whose first name is not revealed until the end credits, where she's credited as Strawberry Fields, which is a definite hint to the Beatles. And this is the Green Echo Park fundraiser party filmed at the Old Union Club in Panama City, which doesn't exist anymore in the form we see it here. When they filmed there, it was a totally desolate building. It was destroyed during the 1989 invasion of Panama by the United States because they wanted to depose the de facto Panamanian leader, General and Dictator Manuel Noriega. And the building was left in that destroyed state, and the Bond production, during their location scouting, thought this is the ideal location for something like that. It was later used for art exhibitions and stuff. And today, it is actually the Sofitel Legend Hotel Casco Viejo. It's a seaside resort with 159 rooms. So the location as you see it in the film does not exist anymore, but at least you can be in that place as a hotel. But it looks totally different. I'll play you a bit more behind the scenes of how this was filmed. And actually, I think, again, building on what I said about Dominic Greene as a villain in a suit, of whom you find so many these days, he has some of the best lines in the film in this scene. I don't know why. I can't tell you exactly why I like those lines. And they happen when he speaks to Bond. Not right here, when he's mingling in the crowd. But when he's speaking to Camille and to Bond, he says, you both fit together because you're both damaged goods. I think that is a fantastic thing to say. I just loved it. I love it since many, many years. I don't know why. I was waiting for the situation to say that. Because I use a lot of Bond quotes during my days.
Yeah, and like again, Zachary points it out. I hate the editing in this scene. It makes no damn sense how it jumps around all over the place in the middle of exposition. Your mind has no place to settle. Yeah, it's a common theme.
Yeah, that's true. Sad.
Yeah. Has there ever been, Benjamin, you as the Bond expert, has there ever been sort of, because I know from other franchises there are like official or semi-official recuts of the movies. I know it from Star Wars. Sometimes some fans have restored some of the old cuts and so on to come closer to the original form. Has any whoa, Joe?
I thought I was drinking.
Has anyone well?
Should I speak some more Spanish for you?
No, just let me go with this. I'll never get this done. Has anyone ever tried to recut the movie or
Yes.
or made another? Yes. Okay.
Yes. There have been. There is this website which started with a lot of these Star Wars cuts. I think it was fanedit.net or something. They had a lot of recuts of the Bond films. They had a lot of recuts of the Brosnan era Bond films, cutting out a lot of the humor. I've recently read from a fan that he recut No Time to Die. From here is the dialogue scene. I mean, I really love that. I adore that scene. Everything he touches seems to wither and die. I think it's a mild insult to Bond. It's basically saying F off, but he does it in such a great way. And the damaged goods line. This is the only thing I like about Dominic Greene's dialogue scenes. Yeah, coming back to the recuts, there was a guy, I read it 2 days ago, he recut the video-on-demand version of No Time to Die, cut out the whole part of Agent Nomi, and some of the humor with the EMP watch and all that stuff, in an attempt to make it more approachable as a film. If it helps the films, I don't know. I have seen only one recut version. I think that was of On Her Majesty's Secret Service, cutting out the whole love thing with Bond and Tracy. It didn't work for me. It didn't work.
Yeah, I mean, it's right. I mean, if you go back to all the movies, who have certain spaces that have a certain length and so on, but when you cut out all the weird cuts and all the jump cuts, then you wind up with a 5-minute movie.
Exactly. And if you cut down Quantum, you end up with the opening shot and then the end credits.
That's right.
If you want to be extra sure.
Bond Experience writes, Bond has a great swag in this film. Very cool. Okay. I must have missed that. Martin writes, yeah. Jeremy Page says, the henchman is terrible, worst ever. Talking about Elvis, presumably. Yeah.
Yannick
seem to agree mostly on that. Yeah.
I agree with the Bond experience that Bond, swagger meaning he moves well, he's comfortable in what he's wearing, what he's doing. Also in this scene, a very quick and intense fight. The suit fits, it's barely wrinkled, it's like the Brosnan films. It's basically what we love. Brosnan always came out of every fight unwrinkled, the suit's in perfect shape, and well, this is pretty much a style Bond, Daniel Craig. I mean, I don't know, I think he's had 17 costume changes during the entire film. He had so many different suits because some of it had debris on it and blood. And so costume design has almost become as important as set design or the stunts. Which is good, because Bond films, part of the charm of the Bond films is the look of things, sets, and the way people are dressed. And that's very important to me. Remember Fiona Volpe in Thunderball with that blue dress and that feather boa and stuff. This is something that will stay with you forever.
Well, and you can people in the chat, you can vote to throw me out of this stream if I go too far with this. But this scene, stuff like that to me is not Bond. Period.
Well, it's your opinion. You're entitled to your opinion. That's why you're my co-host. We cannot like everything.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I know that sometimes for some people it's toxic when other Bond fans say, hey, I didn't like that and I didn't like what they did there, but everybody is entitled to an opinion. and nobody has the right to tell anybody this opinion is wrong, because it's yours.
That's right.
So-
That's right. Yes.
The Bond experience says cardigan, Harrington, polo, chinos, chukas. It's true. Bond is having all of these things. I don't identify with it. I know you don't. Yannick, remember when you were here and we filmed when you bought a travel suit, and I said, what the hell is a travel suit? And I said, are you trying to look like Bond? And you said, no, because I know I'm not Bond. Why should I try to look like Bond? I thought this was exactly right. I mean,
right.
we all put on occasion, we put on a tuxedo now and again, but that's it basically. I don't need all the other stuff because I have my own style. I don't want to be somebody else. I have my own style.
Yeah.
So, and
Right.
you have too. So.
Yeah. Right. And the Bond.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, go on.
The Bond experiences wrote, love a different opinion. Who wants a group that all agrees? Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
It
That's
is
why I
good.
also said. That's also why I said, the Craig movies are not my tenure, not at all. I mean, I don't like one of these movies, but then, but then again, I had my, excuse me, I had my era with I loved all the Brosnan movies, all the Moore movies, all the Dalton movies. Those are my movies, and if that's over, then it's okay. And I mean, there seems to be a lot of people who enjoy the contemporary movies, and that's fine. Okay.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yep.
It's nice that they used an pretty much old aircraft here, that they founded actually, a Douglas
Yeah.
DC-3 propeller aircraft. Odd choice, but it's the only one around. And again, interesting camera work that they did here to film this aerial dogfight. I show you some behind the scenes footage here of how they filmed it. This is impressive enough. Even how they filmed it. They used a snake head camera built and placed on the nose of a Piper Aerostar 700. This
What is
camera, it's another aircraft. And
No, snake.
it's just a camera. It's shaped like a periscope, and it can turn 360 degrees.
Okay. Yeah.
And they used it so that the pilots, for the first time in one of these films, can fly as aggressively as they want, as they dare to do, without sacrificing the drama of the shot they are trying to achieve. And I think that transposes well in that scene. It also through the editing, again, it comes across as very aggressive.
Yes.
It's very well shot. And the fighter plane that chases Bond in the Douglas DC-3 is an Air Macchi SF-260, designed in 1964. And then it was built by SIAI Marchetti, and later it turned into Air Marchetti in 1997. And this is used actually by many small air forces around the world. Nice, fast fighter jet plane. Very nice.
When I see these scenes, I have to say, even though Marc Forster gets a lot of shit and a lot of people criticize Quantum of Solace, you still have to say, and also with all my negative comments tonight, I still have to say I really admire every single person who can pull off a movie like this. I mean, there's so much logistics, so much to balance, and so much to pull off, and to have your head together to just finish the movie.
Absolutely.
That is really, if it's bad or good, it is still a massive achievement.
Yep. Absolutely the same opinion. I'm with you on the same page there. And especially the latest film with its cost, it has shown that these productions require so much from the pre-production stage to the production stage and everything afterwards to marketing. It is very demanding. I think this is one of the most demanding film franchises in the world, because it's been going on for 60 years now, and a lot of the guys who work on the film, they picked them ages ago and stuck with them. And the Daniel Craig films had a lot of new talent brought in. When I think of set designer Dennis Gassner, or the recent talent that was brought in to do No Time to Die, thinking of costume designer Sutirat Lalab, or production designer Mark Tildesley. But they have an impressive roster already with the films that they did. But the stunt guys, Gary Powell and Chris Corbold, I mean, they have done all this stuff. This is simply impressive. Although
Absolutely, yeah.
a lot of shots here are CGI, and I didn't like that so much.
No.
But I understand that it could probably not have been done in a different way.
Yeah. Right.
It's a good scene nonetheless. It has a few very, very good camera angles and positions. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
It gives it a good dynamic.
Yeah.
I would even I wouldn't place it above Tomorrow Never Dies, the jet fighter scene, but it comes close. It's one of these good aerial stunt scenes, and aerial dogfights are really difficult to film. Always have been.
Yeah.
Whether it's the Battle of Britain, where a lot of it were trick shots, but still is a great film. It's one of my favorite films, Battle of Britain. None of my favorite films are Bond films, by the way. Sorry.
Oh, there you go.
Yep. Food for thought.
Yeah.
Has nothing to do
Oh,
with
and
Bond.
Yeah. And I have to say the biggest credit, of course, to Marc Forster for getting David Arnold on board again, because he's been overlooked over the last couple of movies, which I just think is a crime, because he has a proven track record of being really good at pulling off the Bond vibe, sound, and so on. And he's still alive and he's still working, and just to use different people is just a crime to me. I mean, honestly, to me, he's really the only successor to the likes of John Barry and so on.
Yeah. And this free
Because
fall,
also in this,
sorry.
yes, pardon me, go on, please.
This freefall scene was actually shot in a wind tunnel in the UK, in Bedford. They had 17 small digital cameras, and they wanted to do it in the conventional way with an actual freefall, with a fan blowing in the cast member's face. But Craig didn't like that idea of a fan in his face, and Gary Powell, stunt coordinator, suggested that this would be filmed in a wind tunnel, and so they did. They wore wind-resistant contact lenses and all of that, so that they could open their eyes when they are falling down. And this wind tunnel is about 8 meters long and has a diametric width of about 5 meters, so you can simulate free falling at approximately 274 kilometers per hour. Interesting.
Now,
We should do that sometime.
This gives me the classic Bond vibe now. That's a character face. Both character faces, the setting, the light, the colors. That to me is classic Bond.
Yeah.
Wasn't this actor also in Johnny English?
Yeah, absolutely. He plays Johnny English's boss. Yeah.
Yeah, right. The first one, right? Oh yeah, when they have the dance. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Not bad films, Johnny English. It's turn your mind off and just watch it. Yeah. With Bond films, I still appreciate that sometimes they give me something to think.
Pegasus, right?
Willem says Pegasus was his name in Johnny English. Yeah. Yeah. Great actor. The name escapes me again, but I know his face.
Is he known from? Is there any other movies one should know that he's known?
A lot. Okay. I've seen his face a
Yeah,
lot, but the name escapes me again. Yeah. I loved to have all the names present, especially at that late hour after a very long day. But I just forget.
And after 1 hour and 10 minutes of Quantum of
Tim Pickett-Smith. Thank you, Willem.
What
would we do without you? It's everybody in the chat. It's really great to have you along. You are our eyes and ears for these things. Yeah.
Right.
Here we get in this scene we get Camille's backstory. So it takes the film 1 hour and 13 minutes to establish that Camille has her own story. And sadly, from the first time watching it in the cinema, I remember that distinctly. If somebody asked me what was her mission in that, well, I would say revenge. But I'm sorry to say it came across as so flat and underperformed that I thought, didn't they want the audience to care for her as a character? I think there is no time for Olga Kurilenko to flesh out her character in that film, which is largely a script problem, that the character was not fleshed out more. And I think people just didn't care for her story at all. That's why she ends up on the bottom list of Bond girls for many people. And I also didn't think it believable at the time. And this is also where they stumble upon this large lake of water in this cave where they are in. And if this film is something, if it makes a statement, it's a clear reference to the Bolivian water wars from the year 2000, which is now 21 years ago, where water rights were sold to a corporation that in turn sharply increased the price of water beyond the ability of what many Bolivians could pay for water. And of course what follows were demonstrations, and the government reversed the decision. This is what the film preys upon.
I thought it was just a reference to Golden Eyes cabins.
Yeah, also good. Maybe not many people notice that.
Well, it reminds me, the setting reminds me very much of that.
Yeah. And actually, they tested over 400 actresses for the part of Camille Montes, who's not even given a last name until the end credits. But her name's Camille Montes, and certainly they went away from fancy names like Holly Goodhead or Pussy Galore or something like that. Nowadays, characters are just called Camille or Severine or something generic like that. Long gone are the classic Bond girl names. And it sparked controversy that they picked Kurilenko, who was born in the Ukraine. And she was picked over a lot of actresses who were from Latin descent. So maybe that would have been a better choice. Yeah.
Michael writes, I like Camille's skin color, kind of bronze.
Yeah. I'll play a bit of behind the scenes again from the Atacama Desert, where they filmed these scenes. I think who has been there was Marcus, the president of the James Bond Club Switzerland. He's been to the Atacama Desert. I think last year he sent me a couple of pictures. It's such a remote area to find yourself in. And the driest region on Earth.
Okay.
There is no record of any measurable rainfall ever. And quite interesting to see that being used in a film. I don't know of any other films who use the Atacama Desert, but and it's not just a sand desert; it's also a salt desert. So there are several regions. I'm pretty sure it's very interesting. In this scene, when they return to the Andean Grand Hotel, I think here the film looks really dirty and the colors look really off. So here, Camille's skin color comes off as a bit too much. So does Bond's skin color. There is a lot of orange in there, a lot of bronze overall, and I find that really weird. In 4K, in switching to German there, in 4K, this looks really crisp, and you see the 35mm power where you can play around with colors a lot. That's why they shot No Time to Die on 35mm, because director of photography Linus Sandgren said it gives him more opportunity to play around with the color grading when the film is done. 35mm gives you that power. Digital is a totally different area.
Yeah.
But yeah, this film is very bronze brownish. Not as brown as Goldeneye.
The TV show of Oxe used the Atacama.
Oh, a German TV show using such a remote place. That's new to me. Okay.
Claude Oliver Rudolph.
Yeah. And what is interesting is this Agent Fields now being placed on a bed completely covered in oil. I always found that funny. A film that is so hell bent on moving away from Bond tradition, gives us the biggest self-homage in the whole series. That is something I always found really weird. Obviously, an homage to Goldfinger. And I don't know. Sometimes these kind of things, they just seem out of place. And you ask yourself, why did they do that? Just because, the fans will recognize that. They certainly won't recognize anything else.
And it's not even done in a good way. I mean, it's not like when you saw Goldfinger, it was just like this bam and this shocker. And here it's just sort of by the way the camera sort of dollies in, and you can see her sort of coming in. It's totally just by the way, and it doesn't have any impact at all.
Again, this David Arnold composition, this is what I have on my mobile phone. This is the track Oil Fields. When he's going away from M, listen to that now. See the smile on your face. This is David Arnold. You know why I like it.
Yeah.
Because it's
okay, I have to get that one.
It channels Tomorrow Never Dies. It has the Tomorrow Never Dies sound vibe in there. And it comes again. Listen.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we found something to make Yannick smile.
No.
Isn't that nice?
At least 30 seconds of the whole movie was great.
Yeah, but this is a moment in history for the watch-alongs. We made you smile during a Daniel Craig film. Isn't that something?
Yeah, that was great.
Everybody, you just witnessed a momentous moment. It will never repeat itself.
No, probably not. By the way, for those of you who know the movie Casino, when I saw this guy here with the mustache and the glasses in the movie Casino, there's a scene where the Joe Pesci character is enraged and he's playing on those card games, and there's a dealer back, or the one who watches the dealer, the woman dealer who deals the cards, and she always looks back to him because he wants to have more and more cards, and the guy who she looks back to, or he back to, looks almost exactly like this guy here. I first thought in the first scenes that it was the same actor, but it's not possible due to the time that's between those movies.
Yep. You mean him, Jeffrey Wright?
No, the one before with the glasses and the mustache.
David Harbour. Okay.
Probably, yeah.
Casino is a film I haven't seen for ages, released in the same year as GoldenEye.
Right, yeah.
1995, yeah.
And you know what I found very funny, just a little bit of a side story. I saw the movie Assassins not too long ago. Do you remember that movie with Sylvester Stallone and Antonio Banderas?
Yeah.
And many parts, I thought the movie the score was done by Eric Serra, because he always uses his the sonar sound, and a lot of the elements and synths in that score sound so much like Eric Serra. I really thought Eric Serra had done the score for that, but it was another composer who did the music for Speed also, and for some other blockbuster movies. Marc Mancina, I think, was his name. And it was funny because it sounded exactly like Eric Serra, and it came out in '95, the release of GoldenEye year as well. That's really...
It's funny. Yeah, it must have been Eric Serra's high time, I guess. Yeah. Some more behind the scenes there for you? Of the bar fight and the bar escape. Again, very fast editing. Very little I can grasp of that scene. But certainly Craig being very ferocious in his acting, which is generally good for a Bond. I want that from a Bond, but more like Pierce Brosnan, Timothy Dalton kind of Bond. Timothy Dalton was quite a hard Bond for his time. Zachary
Right.
said, I just remembered Gal Gadot auditioned to play Camille. That's true. Gal Gadot, who later became Wonder Woman, obviously, a role she very well played. It was a really great film. Enjoyed that very much. And yeah, she auditioned for Camille. Would have probably been the better choice. And now we're in, again, in the Atacama Desert, the Perla de las Dunas Hotel, which is actually the ESO Hotel, part of the Paranal Observatory. It leaves
There we
me.
go.
It leaves me. My Spanish. In northern Chile. And this hotel operated by I always found that funny. It's in Southern America and it's operated by the European Space Agency. I don't know why exactly, but the hotel is only open to scientists and astronomers who work or visit the observatory. It's not open to the public, sadly, so we as Bond fans can't visit it. But what they use as a hotel here is really a hotel for these scientists and astronomers. And
of course, also Bond producers or Bond
yeah.
movie guys. Yeah.
Yeah, here's another behind the scenes of the shooting in Paranal. And Marc Forster chose to film in the Atacama Desert and the Cerro Paranal Observatory because this hotel and the whole landscape represents Bond's rigid emotions in this film. Again, an art house decision.
Yeah.
Which does not become clear to you when you sit in the cinema. I mean, I don't think what kind of scenes or set designs correspond to a person's mindset. I don't think about that because it's an action film. I want to be entertained. I want to, see a different kind of thing. Here you see some inside shots of the actual hotel, how it looks like. It reminds me a bit of Die Another Day, of the
Yeah, absolutely.
of the,
Oh, yes, very much so.
Echo Park. Yeah. Yeah. Lorenzo says, I care about Camille's story because her story arc, love Olga Kurilenko, Camille Montes' performance. It is fantastic. It's good that you like it. Really good. I think differently, but as we established before, everybody is entitled to their own opinions.
Yeah. Right.
Originally, this is now the climax of the film, and might be funny to you, Yannick. Originally, Marc Forster planned, being Swiss. Zachary just said it. Zachary just said it. The climax was to be set in the Swiss Alps.
Yeah.
But
Well,
there are no real details about that. That's absolutely true. Yeah.
well, probably at one point someone said, well, let's not go full on Her Majesty's again. Because of course that's been done and yeah, it would have been such a throwback. And like you said before, clearly in that tenure or in that era from Craig, they wanted to go as far away as they could from the originals.
Yeah. Did I say Swiss? The Swiss Alps?
You said Swiss, yes.
Well, that's what you get from a bottle of Morillo Muscat, which is a German quality wine
Oh, wow.
with 9.5%
Oh, that's no. I'm not allowed to say
of
that.
Volt, as I call it. It's high voltage, that wine. Yeah. I don't know. It wouldn't have worked, a finale in the Swiss Alps. That wouldn't have worked for that film. I think the desert is a good thing, because it's set in Bolivia, and the themes and the film centers around this water thing in Bolivia. But actually, when you come out of the cinema and you ask yourself, what was the villain's plan exactly? And I remember a lot of people wrote reviews for the local newspaper here, and they mentioned we don't actually know what the film was about.
There we go.
And then at some point somebody will say it is something about stealing water. Yeah. But, okay, it's something about stealing water. I mean, when you're asked about the plot of Thunderball, or the plot of Goldfinger, or GoldenEye, Tomorrow Never Dies, License to Kill, you can give a better multi-sentence answer than just, it's about stealing water. I don't know. Zachary says, at one point there was a version of the script that featured Bond finding Vesper's child and had Bond hallucinating Vesper's ghost stalking Bond in some form. Thank God we didn't see that. I mean, I've read the novel Double Shot, where Bond is, I think, confronted with a doppelganger of himself. That was quite interesting. I wrote a fan film script for that. No? Martin says, what the hell? What have I just read? Yeah. Well, I like parts of this, not all of it. But what is, for me, distinctive is the fight between Bond and the villain, which is always a highlight of every Bond film. Bond fights the main villain. Of course, Dominic Greene being a rather weak villain, as we established from his performance throughout the film. The fight between him and Bond is sort of useless. It's an epic mismatch because Dominic Greene is such a... Well, he does not have physique, he does not have strength or anything, but he's running around like a wielding axe murderer, trying to fight Bond and thinking he actually has a chance of beating this guy.
Yeah, and also his henchman is absolutely useless.
Yeah, absolutely. And in this scene, I should have said it before, the girl who asks the general for drinks and who was almost raped by the general is Una Chaplin, granddaughter of Charles Chaplin. It is. We are again in the Halle Belly area. Yeah. Huh? Yeah. Yeah. You have your moment. Yes. Here it is. The fight between Bond and And I have you know, everybody who's watching, that whenever I say something funny, Yannick sends me his laugh as a voice message on WhatsApp. Yeah. I don't know whoever would go through the trouble of recording their voice laughing, but Yannick certainly does.
Yeah, God.
Michael, it's not the alcohol. I've had a very long day, actually. And many of you will know that I'm an English teacher. Go figure. And I've done this all day. And when you speak all day in something that is not your native tongue, well, it is. I've been raised bilingual, so it is my native tongue. But at some point, you just phase out somehow. I write words wrong and I speak wrong. And then there's the alcohol on top of it. But it has a different side effect. It makes me feel good. Yeah. Jeremy says, I actually enjoyed the fight scene between Bond and Greene. His cringe scream was hilarious. I like serious Bond, but I love moments that can make me laugh. That's true. And that must hurt. That must really hurt, getting such an axe between your toes. It was nice. But still, totally unbalanced. I mean, Dominic Greene does not have the fighting skills of Bond. It is just an epic mismatch in film history. It's like when you let Frodo of Lord of the Rings fight Schwarzenegger's Terminator. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Stupid example.
He also doesn't have any. Yeah, he doesn't have any equipment or any help or any useful henchmen, or he's just. No.
Yeah. The fighting moment, Jeremy says, was as funny as how Carver died in Tomorrow Never Dies, with his silly face as the way he died. When he's torn up by this machine, yeah. Yeah.
But only better with the scene before where he goes, ha ha ha, ooh, ooh, ooh.
Yeah, ridiculous. Yeah, that was good. But that's where humor in Bond films was still present.
Yes.
And actually
yes.
here, the villain doesn't die. He dies off screen, if anything. Because in the final scene, spoiler alert, Yannick,
Yeah.
you don't see the villain die. That's nice, picking your gun up from a smoldering fire. It's not going to be hot or anything. A Walther
But you see,
made of metal.
yeah. But you see, that's the whole problem about this film. It doesn't have any build-up. There is no tension coming from the end. I mean, this is the whole plot is about what is the bad guy trying to do and how can Bond stop him. There is no build-up to that. There is no great reveal where you get the satisfaction of having the main villain killed. It's just there is no redeeming feature whatsoever. It's just bland and it doesn't have a point.
And it's especially this scene that always drove me crazy because Dominic Greene, the villain of the film, is crawling somehow into the desert, and Bond says to Camille, "Oh, wait here a moment, I'll be back in something," says it in a Roger Moore voice, and then the film cuts, and I play you the behind the scenes of how this scene was filmed, cuts to Bond being in his vehicle with Greene in the back of it. So we are not shown how he picked him up, and I think, and then he just throws him out of the trunk, just like that. So he must have picked him up somewhere, and when he picked him up, they must have had a talk, and here they have a second talk, and Greene says, "I told you what you needed to know about quantum." That's the quote that he will say in just a moment. And we are robbed of the opportunity to have this exchange, the traditional Bond villain verbal confrontation exchange.
Yes.
Because, okay, I told you what you needed to know about quantum, but what is it? Somehow they didn't let us be part of that. We don't know anything about quantum. We are absolutely as intelligent as we were at the beginning of the film or when quantum was first mentioned. So either they cut it or they completely left it out. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That is the most ridiculous thing about the whole film.
Yeah. And just leave your main villain, what the whole film is about, just leave him there in a desert. No, come on, that's not.
And I think that's a big middle finger towards the audience. Having him say that line, "I told you everything you need to know about quantum," but we don't know. We were not given this information. Oh, and this is almost the final.
Thank God.
Bond and Camille. And there was an incident on set when they filmed this April 1st, 2008, in the village of Baquedeño. There was the mayor, Carlos Lopez. He drove his sedan into the village of Baquedeño, nearly running over a policeman. He was furious that the filmmakers did not seek his permission to film in the village. Speaking about extremes there. Yeah. It was just it was outrage that the movie portrayed the region of Antofagasta as part of Bolivia when Chile actually had conquered it in 1883. And he criticized special forces, water cannons, prevented people from walking in the street for this small town, which reminded him of what was going on through the Pinochet years. And they arrested him. He was detained and put on trial, and his claim that they needed his permission to film there was dismissed. So that was a bad day.
But you know what? Yeah, that little story you just told sounded like a much better plot than what we saw the last 1.5 hours.
Well, that's a hard judgment. Kazan, Russia. We are in Russia. This is the final scene. What I think Zachary was referring to, that Bond is coming to peace. He confronts Vesper's former lover in that scene, and the other agent, a Canadian agent. This is an interesting scene because this was actually taken from the short story 007 in New York, where Bond warns a female intelligence agent that her boyfriend is an enemy agent. But again, the film misses out on something very important. We see Bond finally alone with the man who betrayed his dead love, Vesper Lind. It's the emotional climax of Casino Royale and Quantum of Solace. And we are not shown the climax. We are not shown what is going on between these two men. Bond will then just leave the room and M will be there. And we don't know what happened to this guy. We have absolutely no idea because the film cuts us out of that. And I thought that was a horrendous move. It's not good.
Yeah, but and within 15 minutes, it's like the third time.
Mm-hmm.
The desert thing, the thing with the organization, and then this.
Yeah.
That's just this is bad movie making. I'm sorry.
Martin has to go. Martin, thank you for staying with us. See you next time.
Thank you, Martin. Bye bye.
17th December, I can tell you, is the next time. Oh. Bye bye. Yeah. So he's finally alone with that man. And what happens? It fades to M and him coming outside. Has he killed him? And she asks if he's still alive. He says he is. Well, great revenge plot. That worked well. It's true what David said from the Bond experience. The costume design is really fantastic. I mean, Daniel Craig, these clothes just fit to him. I couldn't wear this kind of thing. Daniel Craig's physique is something where this really fits well. But yeah, this is the end of Quantum of Solace.
Finally.
Yeah. And in the scene we saw earlier with Bond and Camille, you think that they would have something going, but actually they don't. Bond and Camille share a kiss in this movie, but that was it. There is no intercourse or whatever. He doesn't hop to bed with her. And when Olga Kurilenko read that script, she said it was good that she has no love scene with Daniel Craig, and she thought it would distract viewers from her performance.
Yeah, right.
Okay, that's not a statement I agree with.
No.
There was a lot to distract me from the performance. And there's the gun barrel.
Yeah, of course. Like, we haven't been shown enough middle fingers in the last 15 minutes. Put the gun barrel at the end.
And have it turn into the quantum loop.
Oh, man. Oh.
Yeah. And Willem correctly said, this is
Okay.
not the original ending. There is a missing scene between Bond, Mr. White, and Guy Haines. That's true. And I have several photos of that scene, but I have no idea what it was about. I know that Mr. White, that Bond confronts Guy Haines, Paul Ritter, the guy you found interesting at the opera scene.
Yes.
And it's in the game. It's in the game Quantum of Solace, in the video game. There he goes to Guy Haines' house, but nobody has an idea what actually happened. I haven't seen the script for that ending. Yeah. So Yannick, Jochen asks you what your conclusion is. Now you go. The arena is yours.
Of course, I didn't have any any expectations at all. I was expecting the worst, and the worst was delivered. I mean, there was not one single moment. There's not one point of the plot, of the story, of the acting, of the casting, of anything there was no thing that I liked about this movie. None at all, except this little cue from David Arnold, like you said, oil fields. The rest of the movie, forgettable, no build-up, no release, forgettable characters, no Bond moments, really. So really, really a bad movie. And like I said, I sort of predicted this. Some people on Twitter beforehand pointed out that, or on Facebook, on the Bond Bulletin Facebook page, wrote that I'm going to have a hard time adjusting to the fast cuts. And I already said, I got the suspicion that the fast cuts are not going to be the worst thing about this movie. And it's true. It's not the worst thing by all means. I mean, all the cliffhangers and all the stuff that was sort of hinted at and not, you know, not finished. You know, it's a terrible movie, really bad. Never going to see that again. Yeah.
Well, did you expect something else? No, probably not.
No, it was exactly what I've expected.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if anybody cares for my personal opinion,
Sure, please.
oh, thank you. This is so nice to be here. Thank you for having me. So great, actually, to speak out. No, I'm actually thinking if I'm eating a piece of chocolate before that, but no, it's not good when you're on camera. Actually, I hated it when I came out of the cinema. That was my initial reaction. Coming out of the cinema, I hated it because it gave me a headache, and I have a lot of headaches because I work a lot doing these things. What you see here, the layouts and all of that. At the end of the day, it gives you a headache because you never get enough sleep. But I don't expect that from my free time when I go to the cinema and I want to see a cinema. No Time to Die, for example, didn't give me a headache, and it was a lot longer than Quantum of Solace. Quantum of Solace was only 1 hour and 46 minutes, yeah, which is not long by today's standards. I mean, if you go watch a Marvel film or anything else, 2 hours is luxury. Today, films like, I think Dune is 2 hours and 28. Tenet was very long. Well, No Time to Die, 163 minutes. That's overly long. And here at the cinema, you pay an overprice for, you pay 50 cents extra when the film is overly long, which is practically waylaying. It's robbing you of your money. But I did not get the feel of a Bond film from Quantum of Solace on the initial first watch. This is a film where I came to a different conclusion watching it a second, third, or fourth time. I haven't watched it a lot, actually. I think it might have been 3 years since I watched this one. And I've said this before a lot. I don't often watch the Bond films at home, not because I don't like this or that one, but I choose to watch different films, films of today. And I have a long list of films on my watch list that I want to watch, and there is just no time for Bond. But I know the films inside out. I can speak some of them from memory. So there's no need for me to re-watch them. My opinion has been formed, and it rarely changes about a film. And my opinion has not changed about Quantum since the day I saw it in the cinema. Same as my opinion about No Time to Die won't change. I've seen it 4 times. I've seen it 2 times in the cinema, and I've seen it 2 times at home. It doesn't change. It is the same as the first watch.
Yeah.
Okay, going into afterthoughts, why the film is the way it is. As I mentioned in the beginning, a big weak point of this film is the script. And partly the reason why this script is so unbalanced and seems so unfinished, and the film seems unfinished, is the writers' strike of the Writers Guild of America, East and West, from November 5th, 2007 to February 12th, 2008, where all 12,000 film and television writers went on strike. So why did they do it? They wanted to increase funding in comparison to the profits of the larger studios, and the Bond production could not employ a writer to finish the bare script that they had. They had an outline, but they couldn't hire anyone. So what happened? Marc Forster, the director, and Daniel Craig, the star, sat down and finished writing the script. Something which is highly unusual, an actor finishing a script together with the director, because I have to read the SAG-AFTRA guidelines, the Screen Actors Guild guidelines, but I think an actor cannot serve as a writer on a film production. So Daniel Craig actually went against Screen Actors Guild rules and finished the script with Marc Forster. And Daniel Craig is not a writer. And he says it himself. And he says himself, the film is shit. He said it in several interviews. The film is shit. Not sad. Sad, because I just read the comment, Yannick looks so bored. Don't worry, he always looks like that when I explain things to him.
That's not true. I look like that when it comes to Daniel Craig.
I'm sorry, we're debating a Daniel Craig film. What did you expect?
Yeah, of
Pussy
course.
galore?
No. Yeah, no. Let's be professional. I'm adjusting myself. That's right.
Well, regarding the actor strike, they went in a gray area there in finishing the script, and the rules were you couldn't employ anyone as a writer, but they twisted it in that way that the actor and the director could work on scenes together, which they did, and this is what we see on screen.
Yep.
The story. Guys, what are your thoughts about the story itself? As I said before, summarizing the story as somebody who came out of the cinema, it's about stealing water. Or as the Australians would say, water. Water.
Water, mate.
Apart from that, well, it's a continuation story, a film in which the psychology of the hero sort of continues from the past episode. Bond is allowed to grow and respond to what happened in the past, Vesperlin's death and all of that, Mr. White. And, but this film stripped us of everything that made Bond so memorable. No shaken and stirred martinis except for the ones on the plane. There's no clever one-liners, no humor. Instead, Bond theme. Instead, especially, you get a bit of that of David Arnold's score in Oil Fields and that. You get a hint of the Bond theme, but the gun barrel is missing. Moneypenny is missing. Q is missing. Well, they took it away in Casino Royale, when the reboot happened. However, what we get is a lot of bloodshed, violence, and action. So much of it. It's like they opened a barrel of wine and just let it pour out across the floor. That's how it feels. And as I said in the beginning, you want to shake the directors and the producers and say, hey, I need time to breathe. Give me some time to breathe here. And we all know from our perception of Bond films, there is something more important than action. And it's characters and dialogue and charm and costume and setting. It's not there. And we have experienced that a great Bond film can be made with the absence of great action set pieces. Think of Dr. No and think of Goldfinger. Dr. No, what kind of significant action sequences did Dr. No have? There was a car chase, which was sort of bland. It was a lot of back projection and stuff. Then there was this dragon thing, but that's about it. Goldfinger had the DB5 chase in the forest at night and at Oryx factory, and then the finale at Fort Knox. Quantum presents us with a foot chase, a car chase, and a boat chase in the first 30 minutes. I mean,
that's right, and it's nothing notable, it's nothing out of the ordinary. It's nothing that really surprises you or that stands out in any way. It's just like you said, many different forms of attempt of action, but it's nothing that you haven't seen like in dozen other movies. And it's like nothing, like GoldenEye, where they came up with the tank or the jet boat, the Q boat. Let's think about Tomorrow Never Dies with the jets and all that stuff. It's just all the stealth boat and all these things. I mean, I'm always coming back to the Brosnan things, obviously, but again, like you said, the things that are absent. There's like no gadget that's nothing. There's nothing memorable about this movie. Nothing.
And
no kind of vehicle, nothing.
yeah. And Andy is back. Welcome back, Andy. Family errands done. What did you do? Bought some iron brew. Got you there. I'm sorry. It's what Scottish people do. That's a family errand. Get iron brew for the whole family. I was told. I have it on good authority. That's what they do. Same like the Irish. And then they get cheddar. No.
Cheddar?
Yeah, cheddar cheese.
Yeah, of course I know cheese, but I thought there was something about potatoes or something.
No. Well, let's move on to the director, Marc Forster. Part of why this film doesn't work as well as it should. Marc Forster is not an action director. What has he directed before? Two come to mind. Monsters Ball he directed with Halle Berry. See what I did there? The other one escapes me again. Don't know. A couple of hours ago I still knew it. And he was no great fan of the Bond franchise. Which is, I don't know, this would have raised a lot of red flags for me as a producer. Not a fan of the Bond franchise.
Right.
Why on earth did they decide, let's go with him? He's good. And there is this sort of uneasy match or marriage between art house and Bond action. Especially, as I said before, Forster trying to form the action sequences around the elements of water, fire, air, and earth. I don't know. Did anyone walk out of the cinema? Great, loved it. Did you notice the elements thing? Blew my mind.
But especially with that fact, when you say that he wasn't a Bond fan, and then it wasn't an established director of these sorts of movies, do you know how this collaboration came to be in the end?
No.
Why they went for him?
No. Not really.
Okay.
No. I haven't read any explanation, or I can't remember, I can't recall reading any explanation why Marc Forster was picked over other directors. I don't know. Zachary,
because like you said, he's neither British, he's not well versed in this field, he's not very known. He's not a Bond fan. On paper, he doesn't have much going for him to be a director of a Bond movie.
Yeah. Tim Hans says Marc Forster was Daniel Craig's choice. That might well be true. It could be that I read it somewhere. And that is actually a very, very important point.
Of course, yes.
The choice of Daniel Craig. That is something that has led to people like you, Yannick, hating these films. Because Daniel Craig had his thumb on these films pretty much from the get-go. I mean, Casino Royale was maybe still, he was listening to what the producers wanted and what the director wanted. I mean, he was working with Martin Campbell. I mean, let's not fool ourselves. He screams around on set, and you, even if you're Daniel Craig or not, you don't go to Martin Campbell and say, "Oh, I don't like how you do that scene. It could be done differently, you know. It could have a bit more panache." Or Martin Campbell would say, "Go F yourself. Go to your trailer if you don't like it. Go cry into your, I don't know, toy thing, and then come back and think if you want to work with us again." But somehow along the lines between Casino Royale and Quantum of Solace, they gave Daniel Craig a lot of power, a lot of, I would call it interference. When you give an actor the power to decide very important stuff for this film, I mean, usually you are used to actors receiving instructions from directors or producers and doing what they are paid for. Act the part which is written in the script. Not to actually write the script, pick the director, pick the composer, direct certain scenes. And just recently, Brigitte Miller, who plays Dr. Vogel in Spectre and No Time to Die, told me that in No Time to Die, on the set, Daniel Craig directed scenes of the Spectre party. He said where the dancers should be, how the scene would look more lively. Is he the person who portrays James Bond, or is he the director?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. And
Yeah.
they've given him and they have allowed him so much freedom to interfere. I still call it interference. In a way that wasn't good for the franchise and for the films.
Absolutely. And coming from my point of view, I would even say that Daniel Craig is the worst thing that could ever happen to the Bond franchise. With all the things you just mentioned and all the connections that it had and all things led to another, it's really the worst thing that could happen to the franchise for me.
Yeah, I want to make it clear I don't hate the Daniel Craig Bond films.
Yeah, I know.
I take something out of every film, even No Time to Die. I always take something, it's still my hero, and it's still my franchise. And I accept what they do with it. I don't have to like it, but I agree with many who say No Time to Die is a fitting end for Daniel Craig's Bond, because for me, this is an alternate universe. Casino Royale to No Time to Die. It's completely set apart from all the others. If they continue with a new actor and start with standalone missions, and Bond is back to, or it's set in the 60s, as many fans would like, I'm okay with it. Absolutely. Then I treat the Daniel Craig movies as their own encapsulated alternate universe. They've done it with Batman.
Yeah.
They've done it with other films. So
Yeah.
that's nothing. But I'm not a fan of giving actors the freedom to decide how a film is made, interfere in the script process, interfere in the direction of scenes. Being a co-producer, which Daniel Craig was on Skyfall and Spectre and No Time to Die, not a good idea. I think all of this just poured oil on the fire. And, well, I wouldn't go as far as to say I'm glad that the Daniel Craig time is over. I'm glad that we have the opportunity for a new start. He was a good Bond, according to the Fleming books. But the films he was set in were shite. That's the bottom line. It had a lot of potential, but they didn't use it. They went wrong on so many corners, and
I'm just not sure. I'm not sure anymore. I can agree on that, because that's the thing you hear so many times, and I heard it so many times, and I start to sort of have doubts about that. I mean, there are a lot of people who say, well, Brosnan was a good Bond, but the movies he was in were just bad. And now people start to, well, Daniel Craig was a good Bond, but the movies he was in were bad. I don't know if you can really separate that, to be honest. Of course, it was a different thing, like you've explained now with Daniel Craig, because he instead of focusing on what he was brought on to do, just portrayed a character, interfered heavily in the production, which, like you said, and I absolutely agree with you. I mean, you have experts for all fields of filmmaking, and you should have the experts do what they're good at and not have everybody running around and sort of doing a bit of everything. I mean, we saw the shit show that would turn out to be. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure if that's the right way to put it. That yeah, he was a good Bond, but it was a bad movie. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yep. Andy just says, I think Barbara didn't want to lose Daniel, so gave him too much freedom. She didn't want to lose her Bond like her father did with Connery. That is actually a very, very good point, although Connery was very demanding in things, and he said a lot of hurtful things about Cubby Broccoli, which actually, when I saw it in the documentary Everything or Nothing, made me hate Connery and see him in a different light. I know he wasn't an easy person on a film set and in private. You have so many accounts of that. I mean, I recently did that interview with actress Rayden Greer, where at the end I play this interview where he says he is okay with slapping women. This is just something. It diminishes his whole persona. He was a effing brilliant actor, but as a person, as a character, what he did on the Bond films before Diamonds Are Forever and after, he had a way of speaking about Cubby Broccoli in private and in public interviews when he went on evening chat shows and stuff. When they spoke, what about the new Bond villain? And he said, "Oh, Cubby Broccoli, this is just nasty. It was just nasty." And I'm pretty sure that Barbara didn't take that lightly when she saw that many years later. But she's hooked on Daniel. I mean, she's made that clear in interviews. He is the only Bond for her. And I think that's, at some point, you have to let go. You have to, I mean, actors get older, and at some point it is not believable anymore. Just like Roger Moore in A View to a Kill. It's not believable anymore that he would bed a woman like Jenny Flex or even Mayday. This was the same kind of ridiculous film in many aspects that Quantum of Solace is. Huh? I mean, but, well, Jeremy says, in Casino Royale, Craig suggested for Bond and Vesper to keep their clothes on during shower scene. I actually agreed with that choice. It opened up to her trauma from the scene prior. Having said that, I don't believe an actor should have all that power if they're not a producer or writer. Absolutely. Absolutely agree. And that shower scene you refer to in Casino Royale, I think, was brilliantly done by Martin Campbell. It was brilliant because you as a person feel for the character of Vesper Lind in that moment, and Bond was there to make this moment a bit better for her. It was a totally romantic scene. For some, out of place in a Bond film, but still, Bond is a killer. He's a blunt instrument for a government institution, but he is not without feeling. We saw that in On Her Majesty's Secret Service. We saw it in For Your Eyes Only. He has an understanding of when another person is in trouble, and he is certainly trying to help that person reach their goal. In For Your Eyes Only, for example, he tells Melina Havelock that her revenge mission, she should think carefully about that. He says, dig 2 graves before you plan what you are planning to do, or before you do what you're planning to do. And this is actually very interesting regarding the character of Camille in the film. Here are a few more pictures of Camille for everybody who loves her. The revenge theme, in comparison with For Your Eyes Only in 1981, which is a film that invests a lot in this female character of Melina Havelock. And it takes us along her journey. We see her parents die. We see that on screen when Hector Gonzalez kills her parents. Mm-hmm. We follow her quest for revenge. And most importantly, we know who she is after. And For Your Eyes Only does this in a very good way. And the subplot element of For Your Eyes Only feeds into Bond's mission, and it doesn't run parallel like Camille's story does in Quantum of Solace. And if you narrow it down, the hitman, Hector Gonzalez, that Melina shoots in the swimming pool, he dies 15 minutes into the film. He feels more of a character than General Medrano in Quantum of Solace ever could. The performance in itself, Olga Kurylenko, she plays the part well. Yeah. Might have, maybe a bit better than Eva Green. But she carved her own niche, and if only the film had bothered to give her the tools, she might have been better than Eva Green in Casino Royale. But the film didn't give her that opportunity. And then it is a missed opportunity, no matter how, as Tim says, how gorgeous she looks. I think it was a wasted opportunity. And Dominic Greene, as I said, I'm showing a few pictures of Dominic Greene here. The film establishes that he represents just one person of this vast and well-connected world of power players which are like-minded, and it's not only scary, but it's very realistic, this idea of a single independently wealthy person bent on world domination that we had in all the Bond films. And as I said, many evil figures appear in suits nowadays and look exactly like Dominic Greene. Totally normal. Totally ordinary. Think of Donald Trump. If you narrow it down, he is just a guy in a suit who became president. He is a businessman. He was a businessman. He has a great business empire behind him, and he became president of the United States. But he was an evil man in a suit. Still is. And these people are frightening today. That people like that can get so much power. Donald Trump actually is a
throwaway character in this movie.
Of course he's a throwaway character. Oh. Absolutely. They could have made so much more out of him.
Yeah, and just what I see these pictures, and like you mentioned before, just in the whole movie, that's where I disagree. I never get 1 inch of feeling threatened by him, or that he could be, like you said, a psycho, that something is brewing underneath. There was this movie with American Psycho, yeah. Mm. I mean, again, there's a guy in a suit, a good-looking guy, but still, of course, he slaughters people and so on. But that's only later on. But you get through his face and his acting that there's a real psycho underneath him, and that just I don't remember the actor's name who plays Green. You don't get any of that. He looks like a schoolboy almost. It's just
Yeah, it's true.
And you are right. Sorry, just to you're right about, not to get into political stuff, but you're right. Donald Trump is also a bad guy in a suit. That's true. But sometimes you get these glances and these little moments where you just see like this monster that's lurking inside these guys coming out, and that's when you get frightened, and that's when you get these moments like you described, that these corporate guys that are wearing suits but are really sometimes monsters. But you never get that sensation from Green. You know, it's always very shallow, very superficial. That's a little bit of a problem.
It's again a missed opportunity by the weak script, and which is down to what we already established, that there was a writer's strike, and they tried to finish it as fast as they could so they can start filming. The characters were not fleshed out enough. But what could you have done? Wait a couple of years until this script is ready to be filmed, make the sequences or make the time between Bond films even longer. I mean, now there is debate how they go on after No Time to Die. Some fans say there will be 5 to 6 years until a new film comes along, and then the Bond franchise will be toppled by Mission Impossible, who put out films regularly, and they have filmed Mission Impossible 7 and 8 back to back, I think. If it's 7 and 8, was it 6 the one before? But they develop much faster. Yeah, but still, they have an actor interfering largely in the production. But because he is a producer, Tom Cruise, also something I don't think is a good idea. So it's not only that I think for Bond this is a bad idea. I think for Mission Impossible it's also a bad idea that Tom Cruise is so very much involved in the production, in every stage of the production. I don't think it's a good thing.
Exactly. And Mission Impossible will never reach the status that Bond has, because when a new Bond film comes out, the whole world has news coverage about it. Everyone talks about it. While in a Mission Impossible, of course, it also generates a certain media buzz, but it's nowhere near as big as when something Bond comes out.
That's true. Bond has this history behind it, this almost 60 year long history, and this gives it leverage, definitely, over any film franchise. Do you like the Mission Impossible films at all?
You know what? I like the first one, or maybe the first two ones, and then it got kind of lost to me because, I don't know, for starters, I really don't like Tom Cruise. I really don't like, it's the same sensation I get with Daniel Craig. Those are just these characters, and I know we've talked about this before. You said, you can watch a movie, even when you don't particularly like the actor that plays in, I cannot bear to watch that stuff. And that's also why I don't particularly like On Her Majesty's Secret Service, because I really have a great disliking of George Lazenby through some histories that we had, and I cannot separate that. When I don't like an actor, I don't like his face, I don't like how he acts, I cannot bear to watch the movie. How are you about this?
Well, it's funny because I recently rewatched all the Mission Impossible films, not the first one because I know that inside out. I saw that upon release. And I don't like the second one. The second one is an absolute shit show. Horrible, because first of all, Hans Zimmer, thank you. And it was too... It was like Quantum. Mission Impossible 2 is the Quantum of the Mission Impossible series. But I watched 3 to 6, I think. 3 with the villain being Philip Seymour Hoffman. Very violent, very brutal. But overall, I like them a lot. And I'm a funny individual when it comes to films. So I hate Quantum, but I like Mission Impossible, and I like 1 or 2 of the Bourne films really a lot. I turn my mind off when I watch these films. There are certain films that I turn my mind off. I just watch them and don't think about anything because I want to be entertained, which was something that Bond always was to me in the Brosnan time, because I was too young.
Yes.
I was too young to recognize things like cinematography, color grading, sound design, visual effects.
Right.
It was just something you took in from the screen, and after that you decided I liked it, and you sat in the cinema like, oh, wow. Or you sat in the cinema in the Daniel Craig time like, okay.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
And with Mission Impossible, it's a mix between okay and oh wow, that was really good. They have a great feeling for setting and pacing. Of course, some of the stuff is utterly ridiculous, but that's what I want when I want to be entertained.
Yeah,
I want
right.
ridiculousness and all of that thing. If I want a drama, I watch a drama, and I'm also that kind of person. I can watch a drama. I can watch deeply dramatic films like Jackie, about the wife of John F. Kennedy, and documentaries, for example. At the moment, I'm watching Oliver Stone's documentary where he reevaluates the evidence in the John F. Kennedy case after the film he made in 1991, JFK, which is a film that is very high on my list. Controversial, Oliver Stone. But I like this kind of thing, and that's when I'm engaged in something. I like my mind challenged from time to time, but after a long day, I might want to turn off. It's not as far as I go watch a Hallmark movie about speaking animals or something. Occasionally we watch films with horses. Yeah, well, they always have the same story. It's always a girl that has troubles in her life and she meets a horse that fixes her whole life. It's ridiculous. But Sophie and me, we like to watch these films because we can turn our minds off. And Bond, as Andy said, is an event. That's why it is covered worldwide. And I think now we are sort of at a turning point. It's too early to say if No Time to Die was enough for the world and the media to say, okay, Bond is done. We're done with it. It's always the same shit. They need to come up with something. And another reboot is questionable. How often do you want to do that? How often can you do that? Wouldn't it be better to stop now and say, we have 25 films. It's okay. Bond is history. We will not go on.
Okay. Let's make that a question for the chat. I would really love to hear what you guys think about that. Should Bond directors call it quits at this point? What do you think? I think this could be quite a popular topic.
Yeah, absolutely. How long do you want this night to go on?
Well, I need to get over this thing we've just watched, whatever that was.
Okay. Just to notify you guys, we will have the next watch along on the 17th of December, so mark your calendars. It will be a Christmas special, and I'm pretty sure you know what film we are going to watch as a Christmas special. It's the Christmas Bond film. With an actor we like very much.
Irony of.
Yeah.
So Willem says no quit. I'm sure your other guys are typing right now.
Which is pretty much. I think every Bond fan's heart will resonate with that. You want it to go on, absolutely, but rebooting it again. As I said, it's difficult. You cannot do that every few years. I mean, you always have a new audience to appeal to, but for the old fans, and so often they go on record in interviews and say, we're doing these movies for the fans. This is one of Barbara Broccoli's. After Daniel Craig is my Bond, I want to keep him, and I wish he would stay. This is her most favorite sentence. We do these movies for the fans, and can't really see any of that recently. But
no, absolutely not.
Yeah.
It's the ultimate slap in the face after delivering such a movie like No Time to Die. Yeah. Let's go through a couple of comments on the question that we've just asked. So Martin writes, I definitely agree. They have been steadily dropping in quality for a long time and been taking a super long time to film. There's just no point of making those anymore. They've run out of ideas anyway.
Yeah.
Minilight71 says, no way they should give up on Bond. James Bond will return. Jochen says, no, not quit. But I think it's good the Craig Bond's over now. In the end, it was too depressive and too emotional. Agreed on that, yeah. I heard people leaving No Time to Die saying, well, that's an end of Bond. Of course, Dad and I stay to see the Bond will return. Andy says, yeah. And then Michael says they should just make another film without looking back. Absolutely. Yeah. Jochen comes after that with Back to the Roots. Totally missed those typical Bond gadgets. Yeah, of course. Unfortunately, there were no such things in the last few films. Right. And that's maybe also a way to go. Maybe not call it quits entirely, but maybe just, replace the people in charge.
Oh, so you mean replacing Barbara Broccoli and Michael Wilson?
Maybe it is time they should hand it over now, yes. Because, like you said, I mean, someone producing a film like No Time to Die, then coming after that was saying we're doing it for fans, and so I don't really know if they know what is going on anymore. And this whole chat of trying to cater to younger people, I don't know, that's just no argument for me, because we've mentioned this before. When we were young, we went to the cinema as well, and we just had the Bond that was there, and we loved it for that, and not because it was catered to us younger folks. So I never bought into that argument, into that argument.
And
yeah,
attempt to come off as General Orlov, but asking, give it over to whom?
That's a good question. Yeah.
That's a good question. Amazon now have their hands in this whole game, and they certainly want a new production to start as soon as possible, as soon as they are ready. Because Amazon does not wait for a new Bond film to be produced in 5 or 6 years. They say, okay, go F yourself then. We do something else. But it's true. It's true. I mean, Barbara and Michael have tried to hold up the Bond flag for pretty much through the 90s, when we still enjoyed Bond the most. Yeah. So I have a lot of respect for them. A lot.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because these decisions are not just their own. It's like I said, when you have actors interfering in the production process, then it's a unison decision. Yeah? Anybody agrees anonymously, not anonymously, that's the wrong word, unanimously. Sorry, it's the wine, it's the whiskey talking, not me. Then it becomes something else, And I think they need to go back and having the director make the decisions, directing the actors, and story-wise, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, Andy says, I think they should just forget Daniel Craig era and start new Bond without looking back. Just start with the new Bond gun barrel straight into exciting pre-credit. Exactly. A lot of Bond fans wish that back, the classic Bond and the classic construction of the films. Me included. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of talk about the new actor portraying Bond. Nobody can say now. It will probably be an unknown face. It will not be an established actor like Henry Cavill or something. Their profiles are too high. Their profiles are way too high.
Right.
And they don't need Bond on their portfolio. They don't.
Yeah, right.
No? And a lot of people said no to Bond. A lot of people who were established actors said no to Bond.
I agree.
Sam Neill.
And I think it's better that. Yeah, right. Exactly. And there was a comment before that also when we talked about American Psycho, Christian Bale was also offered the role of Bond. But then again, that's what you say. Sometimes it's better to take people who are not like Henry Cavill and stuff. So I think all these names that were thrown around that are more or less like they say, on the bookmakers list, I don't think it will be any of them. Also, when you look at, Roger Moore, Pierce Brosnan, they were sort of offbeat choices because they were not established film actors. Well, Roger Moore was to a certain degree, but they were more like the television actors, so not specially tailor-suited for those roles. Big action
Absolutely.
role.
Yep. Well, guys, we have to close it at some point. We have been on for 2 hours and 36 minutes now. Much longer than the actual film runs. But I understand that Quantum of Solace is quite a talking point. And but we will do the unusual thing of letting you decide which watch-along you want next from January onwards. As I said before, on the 17th of December, we will be doing On Her Majesty's Secret Service as a Christmas special with lots of surprises in store before the watch-along. You will know what I mean when December 1st comes around. Just to get you hyped up for the Christmas season, for the festive season. And right before Christmas, we thought it would be a good idea to throw in On Her Majesty's Secret Service. And in January, we want to let you decide by poll which Bond film we do next. And before we went live, we decided that we will give you a selection of a Connery and a Moore Bond first, and later we will give you another one between Moore and Dalton. And the Brosnans we've already done, so sorry. If you want to catch up on the Brosnan watch-alongs again from last year, you can see them in the live section of my channel. In the live replays, there is a playlist called Live Replays, or you just click on videos and they should pop up there. All of them are there. So we're very much looking forward to this Christmas special on Her Majesty's Secret Service, which is a long film, so this will be a very long stream. No, but being a good almost 1 month away, this gives me time to prepare all the behind the scenes, which I hope you like and cherish during these watch-alongs. That's what sets us apart from everything else. You only get this kind of watch-alongs on the Bond Bulletin. I hope you're not going somewhere else. Thank you for being here tonight with us. Thank you for being here with Yannick and being his emotional spine for this journey.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
And Yannick, I think you spend the rest of the night composing music for what I requested from you for the journey of Daniel Craig. You still have to compose a No Time to Die theme, a soothing love song. Yannick, he's a wonderful guy. He's just wonderful. He's just wonderful. You rarely find these people, composers, where they give you a piece of music and you never have anything to complain. You take it as it is. That's how good Yannick is. Just wanted to throw it out there.
It's very kind. Thank you very much. But it's also it's only possible when you got a great collaborator. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been possible to pull off these things.
Thank you. So,
cheers.
With that being said, enough Loving. With that being said, we wish you a great night and hope to see you all on December 17th for On Her Majesty's Secret Service. There's a little outro reminding you of that. Have a good night, everyone, wherever you are in the world. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Good night.